Well, I think as the judge, particularly in a problem-solving court model, I think it's important for two reasons. The first of which being to get better outcomes. And that would probably relate more to the individual participant we're working with. But secondly, I think it's also as being the judge that sets the tone for the rest of the court staff. If the judge is trauma-informed and is saying we're going to follow these practices, that sort of sets the tone for the rest of the court staff. I think it's important because one of the things in the treatment court model that we strive for, and I think everybody should strive for, is to try to determine what are the causes of this person's issues that land them repeatedly many times into the criminal justice system. So often we've dealt with the symptoms. They act out, they get arrested, we make a decision, we do a sentence, and then we do it all over again because we're dealing with a symptom in an acute sort of episodic method. I think when we're more trauma informed, we're more looking, hopefully cognizant of, looking for, are there other things going on here? Is trauma an issue in this person's life? Is trauma a reason maybe a person has become over time addicted to alcohol or drugs to try to, as a coping mechanism? I had a case probably a year or two ago, and it was just on one of my regular dockets. It was not on treatment court day. And a young woman, probably 22, 23 years old, was in court for some sort of substance-related issue. But the more significant thing was she was already on probation, had reported to the state probation office, which was near our jail facility, was very belligerent, very combative, more so than just someone who was, not happy to be at the probation office. Ultimately, she got into a physical confrontation with one of the probation officers, and they had to call the deputies and placed her under arrest. They took her to jail intake, and in the process, again, the behavior sort of continued. Ultimately, when they were going to book her in, she refused to change her clothes into a jail jumpsuit. This was all gender specific. They had female officers that was following these protocols, but they were, not aware or not cognizant of maybe there might be something else going on here. She appeared into court, and I'm sitting there, sort of at a first appearance type hearing, and hearing some of this being recounted, and at the same time I'm reading on the computer monitor the booking incident report. And as she's talking very little, and as the state's attorney is reading some of the background of it, it catches my eye in the report that when the female officers tried to change her clothes, or tried to make her change her clothes, she started screaming, "Please don't do this to me again." And I immediately said, wait a minute. And I didn't ask her anything further about that. And I started looking at her biographical information, and I noted that she had attended high school in a community about 80 miles away from her hometown. And I inquired, why did you go to high school? And she said, I was in foster care. Well, the rest of the story is she was in foster care because an uncle had raped her when she was 10 years old. And so the effort of the female jail staff to forcibly cause her to undress, to change it, re-traumatize her. So I immediately, once we figured that out, very cautiously and without trying to ask her questions about it in public proceeding, we got her out on her own recognizance, immediately had her transported to the Mental Health Crisis Center, where we had already called and made arrangements for her to be assessed by a female counselor, and got her into one-on-one counseling. Probably if I had not gone through some of the trauma-informed training, I might not have picked up on that as quickly, and may have stumbled right into another re-traumatizing event by stumbling into the fact pattern in the courtroom.